Hello and welcome to Expose Podcast. In today's show, we have with us very special Fireproof first wave woman, Anais Sales. Anais is not only a visionary consultant, energy medicine practitioner, and holistic product innovator, author, and speaker, but also with her deep understanding of energy work and a passion for empowering others. Anais guides individuals on their journey to self-mastery, helping them cultivate serenity, radiate their inner light, and stay grounded in their true, authentic self. Anais also shares her story of being groomed as a child in the upcoming premiere on September 5th, which is the upcoming Thursday in the next 8 days at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Anais couldn't join today's episode as a result of emergency, but we decided to go live and talk about becoming fireproof and how we can actually fill up our cup to that place that we don't have to block people because we own everything within ourselves and we stay centered and grounded regardless anything going on the outside, and we let people be in the divine cycle they are with the high frequency of love. Thank you all for listening to the replay and all our audience who join us live. Let's dive in. Here are the main things we discuss. So what do we do when things are getting out of our control? When we feel somebody is either stealing our energy or trying to sabotage our actions. And what came to me was my last Thursday premiere. An hour before the premiere, I had electricity outage. The electricity went out. And I couldn't believe. I had this feeling of, wow, how can I make it without electricity? And why it happened now? But instead of going into that victimhood and feeling, oh my God, I spent 4 months advertising this event. It's the premiere I have been working for the last 4 years of my documentary, but now we have no power, no electricity. Without any reason, it just went out. I went to that state of, okay, fight and flight. I got fucking nervous, but my first response was grab my laptop and drive to the closest next city where there was power, and that's what I did. And as soon as I arrived there, I get a phone call from my home, from my boyfriend saying, hey, the internet and the power is back. And then it made me feel, what if me, instead of fighting so much and trying to, go into fight and flight mode and save my premiere, instead of driving there and rushing up to the house, I would stay in the home and accept and have the high frequency of love that the power will be back. I didn't go there because of the fear mindset, because of the desire to control the outcome. And it was just another way of universe teaching me that there is so many things I can control, and there is my ego, and there is my pride, and so many other factors which there is no way, absolutely no way for me to control. and I have to surrender. So, um, and there was another thing which, um, even when I started doing the live, we used, I don't want to get into the details, but I had the feeling to use another software. But instead of that, I agree to use the one which one of my co-hosts decided, and that was what later on we found it didn't work. We weren't able to connect live. So one more time, our instincts, our feeling, and that little voice which comes up is so damn right. And it's so easy to self-attack after when we know we had this feeling of, oh, I knew it. Like, I don't know, Barbara, Joshua, if you had this feeling like, oh my God, I had this feeling. Hi, Divine. Hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are waiting for our expert speaker as she has some emergency, couldn't join us on time. But since this is how to be fireproof, we are doing the event uh, the way it is. You are all welcome to come to the stage. I just was sharing about how there are things we can control and how there are things we sometimes cannot control, and how we can get in our own way. I was just sharing how during my last week premiere, I went uh, to, I kind of blocked my own way by not allowing myself to act based on my intuition, where I had a clearly sense of, hey, I want to stream the premiere using this platform, and deciding in the last moment that it's okay, we can change it to a different platform, which later on turned out to that the technology didn't work because of changing the platform in the last moment. So our instincts are always right. And I was saying it's so fucking easy to self-attack when we are like looking back and evaluating and having this feeling of, oh my God, I had this feeling in my gut. Why I didn't listen? And it's so easy to self-attack, right? And what's the solution of turning that attention into self-celebration? I do believe that self-celebration is the solution. And actually realizing, what if I have been practicing my powers, my supernatural powers of practicing my intuition and instinct through all those moments when I didn't listen to my body. The world of duality and shifting the attention from what's wrong with me, why did this happen to me, to the opposite of how this can serve me. What does show about me? Because clearly what that situation showed about me was that I was still in the mindset of I can control everything and I am the God, which turned out I was mistaken. And I do want to talk about, that was the next topic, which I think it's so important, about sisterhood. And when I say sisterhood, I mean the feminine energy, the divine, which we all, I do believe, regardless whichever gender we identify ourselves with, we do have both. We have the feminine and masculine. And if we grew up, like myself, I grew up in Poland actually, but if we grew up carrying the wounds of our mothers, or we have divine here, I will let you bring to the stage. Beautiful, but I will finish what I started. If we grew up in that village of our mothers and our ancestors who were conditioned to be marriageable and to fight to actually, be chosen, then even though we are no longer living in this village of trying to be marriageable, because now we can not only own account, like a bank account, girls, which wasn't a new thing. It actually, a woman couldn't own her bank account until it was, I think, I'm not good with the dates, but it's like the last 100 years when it changed in the United States. But there is still this envy and jealousy when it comes to woman and versus another woman, and how there is this wound of not seeing the goddess inside of each of us, and instead of seeing that goddess, seeing like this woman can steal my husband, or this kind of fear of which there is no more need for it. But I would like to hear you, because this event is for you. And I'm bringing up you guests, which today happened. Our guests couldn't join, but we are here, and I want to celebrate. Divine, I'm giving you mic in a sec. Barbara, Joshua, Client, Platine, and because your energy matters and your voice, it's so important. Your light, Divine, how are you?
I'm right here with you, sister. That's why I raised my hand, because I felt like, let me get up here and be right beside you. Sisterhood, right?
Yes, thank
And
you.
there's so many things that you mentioned. I was like, wow. And I'm not going to be a long share. I may be able to share again later, but I have to go pick my children up. What I wanted to say is that we have to get back into that feminine nature, that creative spark. And the reason why we haven't been able to do that is because we have been so consistent and always doing and going all the time and being in the brain all the time. The feminine nature is in the body, and it allows creation to make its way. It allows creation to take its course. So there is no resistance. That passive nature of yielding and resting and receiving, we are all shifting back into that polarity. It has been out of balance, out of order for a long time. And even men are feeling this. I just had a client that reached out to me and said, this is starting to happen to me too much. He said, I'm laid off from work. He said, this time I don't feel the need to fight it, but just accept what is. And I find myself being more in the present moment than lingering on the why or the past situations of this keeps happening over and over again. So the more that we are present, the more that we heal our own wounded energies within ourselves. That's that safety, that security, that belonging, that acceptance within. The more that we can create with that in our external reality and have these healthy, united, loving connections with all of each other, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that is so important, right? We have to do the inner that creates the external. And we have been so externally focused. Now we're being called to go within, to self-reflect, to do the awareness work, right? Mm-hmm. And really allow ourselves to receive from multiple sources, because that's creative energy. When we were in our mother's wombs, we trusted what we were going to be taken care of. We trusted that every cell in our body was going to form every ligum, every part of our body that was necessary for us to live. It's the same creative force and energy within all of us. And we got to get back to that true nature. So thank you so much, sister, for holding space. And please, guys, share this room. Click on the 3 dots. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Divine. That was really a divine reflection on shifting the attention from the out focus to inner self reflection and inner focus and being in our body and going back to the mother nature and healing our own wound energy, as you mentioned, instead of pointing out, oh, this is because of this person and that person, owning all of that, because I truly believe that's how we can stay in serenity. um, but as Divine mentioned, this is a space for you all if you would like to share any moment in your life when you felt attacked. If there was there any moment when you felt like somebody disturbed your energy and it felt like they took away some part of you or a work or anything, you felt betrayed or cheated. I would like to hear that here in this space if you feel safe to share. Otherwise, we can dive into different ways of. Oh, Barbara, okay. Allowed to speak. Hello, Barbara. Thank you for being this badass and raising your hands. How are you?
Hi. Thanks for holding this space, and I think this is an amazing topic, and I love the support for women and support for men and support for all, and everybody goes through challenges, and we all have our different perspectives based on how we were brought up and what what we've experienced in lives, and maybe some perspectives are different than others, and that's what we got to look at sometimes, and it's hard when you're the one being attacked, when you're the one that is constantly under the light of being, my whole life I feel like I've been judged, and so I've always done everything to try to be a perfectionist, because I just, I've went through so much, and for me, I just want to say that everybody should show kindness to each other, and and just understand that everybody is fighting some type of battle, and to um, even when you're judged, sometimes it's hard to understand the perspective of the person that's being vindictive or being attacking you. But they also have something in their mind that is bothering them, and because your aura is so happy and strong, it it really puts a rock on their ego, and so they try to attack you because they're not happy with themselves, and I feel like that's a lot of what I've dealt with in my life, and sometimes I handle it well, and I'll get quiet, and just stop speaking to that person, or sometimes I'm like, hey, fuck you, excuse my language, but sometimes it gets to that point where you're just like, okay, I've had enough of your crap, and I'm not gonna take it no more, and you're gonna get what you deserve, and I never feel better after that, so I always like to walk away from the situation and just stay away from those people with the negative energy. I don't I don't want that in my world. I've lived with a lot of pain in my past, and sometimes we have to walk through life trying to keep the peace within our hearts. So this is a great topic, but thank you very much for letting me talk.
Mm. Thank you, Barbara. You are fireproof woman as well, which means you are able to um, say what you mentioned, just fuck off if you feel like somebody's um, trying to break the boundary um, constantly, even when you are notifying them about, hey, this is not okay. And honestly, we are really living in a century where we women need to allow ourselves to use that inner, I call her inner bad girl or inner bitch or whatever persona you need to name that part of you, because we all have that access. I used to be someone who was so people pleaser that I would smile, go to my room and scream, because that mask and conditioning of girls don't get angry and don't show all of that. And when whatever we resist to express, it keeps coming up. And I do believe that's one of the reasons why I ended up in abusive relationships, because I couldn't show my authentic self to the world. So I kept attracting what I was putting out there. And that was the energy of really low frequency and just being okay with me being fake outside. So I would tolerate that mask in others and don't walk away. So thank you for that share. And there's so many archetypes we have in us. We just mentioned the bad girl, and actually one of my best friends, Kasia Urbaniak, she has this great exercise. I love giving her credit because she wrote also a book, Unbound, where you take a piece of the paper, and if you're a man or female, it really doesn't matter, but you write down, what would you do if you were a bad girl? Like transmuting that energy of getting into the rage and expressing it out. So if you have accessibility of having a pen of paper, then please go ahead or do it in your head. If I was a bad girl, what I would do? And it can be, some of the answers I heard from my girlfriends when we were doing this exercise live in a Zoom. What surprised me was that many of them, their bad girl wasn't so bad. The answer was like, if I was a bad girl, I would get 8 hours of sleep, or I would make sure I get a massage once a week, or I would go out on a date just with myself, or I would put my needs first. I mean, this, how bad it is. It's not so bad. But it takes this unconditioning, because for many of us, including myself, 2 years ago, if we have been conditioned to show off only the perfection, which Barbara mentioned, only the good girl, the one who is, yay, I'm a cheerleader for everybody, then when the rage comes up, we suppress. But what if that rage is our fucking power? Like, if you look into rage and actually the sexuality and the orgasmic energy, it's all connected. And if we don't allow a woman to express rage, we see a woman who is trapped, who is walking on eggshells, who is breathing from the chest instead of from her lower belly. Like, guys, if I'm right now dropping my voice to my lower belly, but normally I used to talk from my head, and that's what Divine mentioned before too, that we are living in this century where we are trying to go back to what our ancestors, where they were living from, that life force, the earth, the mother nature. And so going back to that bad girl, many times our bad girl, bad boy is trapped and is in that basement and is like screaming, let me out, let me out, like I want to get the fuck out of here, because for so many years it has been just suppressed and said, hey, you are too much, like boys don't cry. I don't know what they say in your country, but they say this in Poland, boys don't cry, or stand up. Like I remember falling down on the ground and my mom just kind of like, come on, get up. And there wasn't space for me screaming. It would be, suppressed. And recently I was in Poland actually visiting my family, and my aunt was talking about how when she went to Ukraine 2 years ago, she witnessed how people in Ukraine, guys, before the war, that was before the war, right now things change, but before the war started, people in Ukraine would speak really quiet. Like she told me, like she witnessed a family of mother and her son. And the son was walking and somehow he tripped over something and fall down and just crush his knee. And instead of screaming, his mother put her hand on his mouth and shut his mouth with her hand. And that was a picture of how that culture was traumatized in a way of not being able to scream, like, come on, guys. That's a picture of fear and putting people in a mental prison of not being able to scream at their own land back then. And my aunt asked somebody else later, why was that? Why people here are talking so silent? And what she found was that after the war, the Russian people were still living there. Like there were many abandoned buildings in Ukraine, and there are still, but belonging to Russia. And she said, since the Second War, the Russians said that they will come back. So they are here sitting quiet and not talking because they are afraid that if they raise their voices, the Russian will come back to those buildings and take over that place. I thought that was a very interesting way of suppressing a nation, of suppressing voices, and I mean I was speechless when I heard it, because could you imagine the level of fear for those people waking up every day and thinking, is it going to be today the day when those Russian people will come and take over this country, and just living life walking on the eggshells. Like, yes, I talk about abusive relationships in my documentaries, but that energy really comes from our ancestrals and from the war and the people before and the patriarchy and somebody deciding that somebody has to control all of that, and probably it should be a man, which I have nothing against a man. I think many men has been victims of the whole system as well. But I do believe that bringing it all up is going to solve partially. But for that to happen, we need to stand up and we have to say, stop, this is it. This is what Barbara said, like, fuck off. We have to have access that bad girl, that rage, to be able to confront on the spot that this is not okay. And I do believe our voices have that power to say that this is not okay. So whoever's witnessing, they also know, hey, I also want to uh, join this and claim that this is not okay. Barbara, I saw you raise your
It's
hand.
not okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I had to
Go.
say it.
Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
You're right. It's not okay. And let me slow down because I'm walking out here getting my children.
I'm out getting children too. That's why I dropped off a minute ago.
Right, we gotta get the kiddos. But I tell my children all the time, express yourself. But this comes from, all of what you just said. And our emotions are energy in motion, meaning they have to be put out. They have to be released. And we have been taught that only certain emotions are valid. And even in certain spaces here, I've heard people say, well, you have to be consciously aware and have emotional intelligence. Absolutely. But listen, sometimes we need to react quickly, instinctually. And it's not always going to come out with that different awareness of calmer emotion. Every emotion, no matter what type of emotion it is, it must be released. It must be let out, because when it is suppressed, we become ticking time bombs for our overall well-being. And that is not okay. So the epigenetics of transforming and, looking at those cycles that have been passed down from lifetimes and generations, telling us to shut up, don't say nothing, don't speak out. And some people also have fears of death. So there's so many layers to this, that there's so many reasons why people are afraid to speak up and stand up for themselves and their core beliefs, justice, other people. There's so many layers to this, right? So what are the core layers? Why are people doing this? Not just epigenetics, which repeat in cycles, right? But also there are deeper layers of fear and traumas within that are yielding our voices, yielding our power. So thank you, love.
Mm.
That's a really good point there. If I can touch on something here, um, I just want to say, like, when I was growing up, I was taught absolutely the opposite. I was taught that if somebody pissed you off, you beat their ass and they'll leave you alone, and then you'll be done, and you don't have to deal with them no more. If somebody messes with you, cuss them out, do whatever you got to do, but always protect yourself and always stay strong. And this is because I came from a world where there was a lot of poverty and everybody was fighting for something. And so I always had to be strong, always. And as I got older, I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be that bad girl or that angry girl or that girl that was always, everybody was afraid of, or everybody, was careful about what they said around me or things like that. So I completely changed my life around. And when I did that, I was faced with the other challenges of, people coming at me and throwing daggers or throwing, what I like to call, small punches. Um, and I'm trying to keep peace in my heart. And so that was really hard for me, to switch over to bringing peace into my life and bringing peace into my children's life and things like that, because even when my children are hurt, I feel like I have to jump up and protect them, and I'm angry, and I'm, and I've learned to control my emotions. And so, I can see it from both perspectives. For me, I want to be the better person, so I've learned with those negative energies to, stay away from those type of people and try to eliminate, triggers at, in certain ways and certain things that I do, and it really does help me. But there are those times where like we've been talking, like where it's just too much, and I have to step up and be stronger. And so. It's hard. It's hard to differentiate when is it right to react and when is it not right to react. And so I've done a lot, of self-awareness over the years, and it's just really helped me. So this is a great topic again. But thank you.
Mm. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for sharing that. And you just reminded all of us how our rage and every single emotion is welcome. All of that is welcome. There is no good or bad emotion. It is. It just is, and all of them we need. We can just like divine said that epigenetics of the transmission of the energy and the epigenetics of cycles, um, and the fear of death. Mm, I mean that's like another room probably about that. Um, but I would like to, as we are getting slowly to the end, um, I would like to talk about the only one, my favorite way of healing the sister, mother sister, or sister wound, or any gender wound where there is some tension, or jealousy, or envy, which is celebration of the another person, and how by celebrating others we are giving permission to ourselves um, to be okay with receiving the celebration when somebody else is trying to give us, um, which is part of being in a sub state, being able to receive what's already ours. I see that so many times myself and many other women, we are fighting for something we already have. It's already ours, but we are fighting for it because we have been somewhere conditioned to earn it, to please, and we almost miss that we already have it. And it's something what honestly I'm still trying to see and actually unblind my eyes and realize that everything I want is here. But I want to get into one exercise which also I credit to Kasia Urbaniak, and it starts with I am the woman who. And what we do in this exercise is, one more time, we can do it in our head or write it down. I am the woman who, or if you are a man, I am a man who, or any gender you just name there. And then you write down every little accomplishment or each big accomplishment you have ever done, or you just write until you run out of ideas. And it can go from I'm the woman who woke up today and made myself a tea and brushed my teeth and show up for this event. I'm the woman who knows how to listen and speaks up when she feels it's important. It could go, you just go with it. And the funny thing is, the first time you do it, it feels weird. But the more you do it, actually you feel more familiar with that energy of like giving yourself credit. We no longer do the free labor of doing things for others without the recognition. We don't need that recognition. We give ourselves that recognition by witnessing and seeing ourselves that, oh wow, I'm the woman who, I don't know, who said hello to the neighbor. Who see that this flower is so beautiful and I actually can recognize the beauty of the flower. And feeling more and more familiar, but what it does, it almost, they're like those layers of joy and excitement and ecstasy we allow ourselves on a daily basis to feel, and we can expand that. I almost feel like it's like a muscle, And the more we use it, the more we practice this. I'm the woman who I'm the man who, and we start to suddenly remember some things we did. Normally, we would say, "Oh, it's nothing," but it's our time, it's our energy. Why not give ourselves credit for it? And if that is going to make us feel better, and actually that's what I believe, that's the inner goddess inside of us, waking up that energy of worship me, adore me. You can adore me. I'm saying ourselves can adore ourselves. So we don't need and look for that adoration from anybody outside. So whatever happens, our cup is full. Just like Oprah say, my cup is overflowed always. um, and um, we witness the superheroes many times in movies, those women who face adversities, and we look up into them, many times forgetting that we do have access to that goddess inside of us, and she's there. She's just like that bad girl, maybe in the basement. But as we are landing, can you remember one of those moments you really needed somebody else to save you, but you ended up saving yourself? Somehow, somewhere, you found that power, you did something what you will never, ever think you will be capable of doing, and you did it. That's her. That's the divine goddess, and I love the name of divine now, who is there when you ask her to come out. And it's a process of getting in touch with her, because as I said, we have been conditioned to be quiet and don't speak up, even though Barbara said I grew up in a place where there was a poverty and we always had to fight. I think that I want to celebrate your temperament, of being that life force, um, and recognizing that energy in you, um, and giving yourself credit for actually um, being able to be your authentic self when even when it didn't feel safe. Um, so thank you. I like to leave a room for any last insights, wisdom coming from you. Now is the time to speak up. Um,
I'll just say, always be true to yourself and to you. You have an energy inside of you that you can feel, and you know when things are right and you know when things are wrong. And for me, energy is strong, and spirituality, and just making sure that I am happy within myself. And something my brother told me years ago is if you're not happy with you, nobody around you can be happy. So always make yourself happy and make sure that you are the top priority in your life.
mm, mm. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. Thank you. And I also celebrate how we as a woman have forgotten how to teach for centuries, and now we are getting back to teaching. We're remembering that we have that wisdom and skills, and it's all coming out through the divine, which is with us today. Well, thank you all, and thank you.
I'll give my last share real quick, love.
Yes.
And thank you for opening up this space for us. So I just want to say that honor your no and honor your hell yes. If it don't feel like a hell yes, then honor your no. Okay. And also, I want to say that love and accept all aspects of you. Sometimes we've been told that certain parts about ourselves are not accepted, or the things that you like, or the things that you do behind the scenes or in the dark that other people don't know about. But you like it. You may think it's weird, you may think it's freaky, sexy, whatever it may be, but you love it. Honor those parts about you. That's also connected to that dark goddess or that dark king energy, right? Accept all parts of you. We are only here to remove the programming, but we're not here to dismiss ourselves. So thank you, my loves. I yield it there.
That was yummy. Accept all parts of you. Accept all parts of you. Well, I feel like that's how we can land with it. That feels good in my body. Thank you all for listening, and please let me also know if there is any part you want me to delete from recording. I have been recording this for the purpose of uploading it and sharing with my audience, so more people can learn from this wisdom. You can message me. I will be editing this file, and wherever you are in the world, accept all parts of you, and would love to also invite you for the premiere of Groomed, which is going to happen next Thursday, September 5th, at the same time actually like this room, audio room, and it's a free event. It's going to be a streaming of documentary called Groomed, where 88 people from 6 continents are, including myself, are sharing the 5 stages of grooming. And not just those stages, but really how it feels like when you are on that side, and how getting out of being groomed feels like, and how to heal from it. Please join. It's free. Share. There will be a replay. And I'm so happy that we can heal in a tribe, because I feel like witnessing each other's stories, it's so therapeutical, and it really is allowing each of us to see ourselves as a human, with those new eyes of like, yes, I see you, I know what you've been through, and that means so much. That's sometimes all what we need, just that validation and somebody being emotionally with us. Thank you all. You have a beautiful the rest of your day, night. Love you all. Bye bye. Kisses. Thank you, Barbara and Divine. Thank you, Joshua, Schwan. Thank you so much for tuning into Expose Live Room LinkedIn event. Please feel welcome in our upcoming premiere of The Groomed. 88 stories of people from 6 continents are going to share how the 5 stages of grooming really look like in their situation, and also how they were able to escape and heal from it. Join us on September 5th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. See you soon. Much love.